Hello, good morning or late afternoon. This is SJJ, International Correspondent and Travel and Adventure Coordinator for Bikes, Boats, and Bivouacs today. We are doing another section of the river from Hamburg to Leesport, Pennsylvania. So it's going to be fun, and take care. Here we go. Here's the gang.
I'll let you know shortly.
Now Hamburg is in Berks County, the northern section of Berks County, so it's just below Schuylkill County. And the last trip that we went on with Jack in his kayak was from Auburn in Schuylkill County, down to Port Clinton, and Port Clinton is just north of Hamburg. So this part of the Schuylkill River they put in at Hamburg, and they're going to take the Schuylkill River through Berks County down to Leesport. So it's another section of the river, and as they come down through the river, there are a lot of spots where the water is flat and you have to paddle. I cut a lot of that out of the video. Now, as the Schuylkill continues towards Philadelphia, the amount of gradient that's on the river is reduced, and it tends to get a little wider. So that creates two issues. One, you're not going to see large rapids on this section of the river. They're relatively calm. And also, you're going to find areas that are really shallow because of it being so wide. So just keep that in mind, as you're going down through this section. There are spots where you might not have enough water, and you have to jump out and reposition your kayak or your canoe or raft to a different section, a different side of the river. So you're back in water that floats your boat. Now here we see a little mix-up there coming through this section of rapids. The fellow in front crossed Jack's kayak, and they got into a little minor bump there. No issue, didn't do any damage. Hey, makes for good video seeing a crash on there. And of course you can see that Jack is in his Pelican. Remember, his kayak, your legs can go up under the front, where the kayaks that Maria and I use are sit on top kayaks. So remember, there are those two different types of kayaks on this river. Either one is going to work fine. Same with a canoe or a raft. If you wanted to raft this part of the river, you could do that. Now, when you're on the river, sometimes you end up having a water battle, and there's one going on right in front of Jack here. So they got a little wet. It was a warm day, so nobody froze. So it was just good, clean fun out on the river. Now, as you can see, this is another blue sky day that they chose to go kayaking, and there is some shade from the trees along the banks of the river, but depending on the time of day that you're on the river, that sun might be directly overhead. So I strongly encourage you to wear a long sleeve shirt that provides UPV protection. You can get those shirts at any sporting goods store, and also you can wear your suntan lotion. I wear Panama Jack SPF 50 to try to manage the sun so that I can enjoy it and yet be protected from it. Now you can see from this video that the river is not very aggressive. It's relatively a real mild ride, especially if there hasn't been a lot of rain and the water levels are down. So you can feel pretty confident in taking kids on this trip. You're not going to hit any number 5 rapids along this section between Hamburg and Leesport. So a good place to teach them how to navigate the river. Now we're fortunate in Berks County in that we have the Schuylkill River runs from north to south in Berks County, kind of going from west to east. So we can take advantage of sections of the river at a time. And we also have Blue Marsh Lake, which was a Corps of Engineers project. It is an unlimited horsepower lake, but there is an area to the north that is a rather large no-wake zone off of Route 183, and there's great meandering kayaking rivers or waterways there, and that's some really good fishing on your kayak up there. So if you're in this area for more than a day or two and you're kayaking on the river, maybe go over to Blue Marsh Lake and give that a try. I think you'll really find the backwater over there as interesting as the Schuylkill River. Now this little set of quick water rapids here, this is about typical of what you're going to find on this section of the Schuylkill River. You're not going to find the rapids like you would out in western Pennsylvania or West Virginia. in this particular area. Now in Pennsylvania, if you go further north, you'll find more swift water that you can play on. But down here it starts to settle down as it gets closer to sea level. So you'll want to plan accordingly as you schedule, your sections of the river for your kayaks. Now, one thing I would suggest when you're doing sections of the river, you have to make sure you understand, where you're putting in and where you're getting out. And it looks different from the river than it does the parking lot. So if you're placing a car at your place of exit, you want to make sure that you walk down to the river and take a look at the landmarks that are around that place, so that you don't overshoot it and go past it, and end up in the next town away from your car, and then you're calling an Uber to get you back. So just take your time and make sure you look, where the spot is. This is not our exit spot. There was a chance, Jack thought perhaps it might be, but it was not, and they recognized that as they passed through this area. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free, it helps me out a lot. Also, ring that bell, you'll be notified every time I put up a new video, and give the video a thumbs up. That helps too.
As you can see, we had the adventure coming all the way down, and this is where you get out. This is SJJ for bikes, boats, and bivouacs. Have a good day, and remember, get out there and have fun.